Hey YouTube! So I'm here to record the finale review for If Loving You Is Wrong, Season 3, Episode 10. It is titled Rusty's Brand of Justice. And luckily, Rusty did not receive his justice. Okay? But let's just hop on into it. Okay, so the episode starts off with Randall. Randall, of course, is begging and pleading for Rusty to just have some mercy on him and his child. He's sitting in front of Rusty's house. At some point, he's begging so much that one of Rusty's henchmen comes up behind him and hits him over the head with a shovel. So then he has all this blood on the side of his face. Okay, so the next thing you know, I don't know how he recovered so quickly from being hit over the head with a shovel, but he gets back up bleeding, still begging and pleading. Okay. So the next thing you know, he offers Rusty $100,000, and Rusty is like, "Boy, please, you ain't got $100,000 because a black person could never have $100,000, right?" Okay, so anyways, Rusty says specifically, you are a lying drug dealer and a rapist. Because for one, my daughter would have never agreed to consensual sex with you. And for two, there's no way that you can have $100,000 unless you are a drug dealer. So I think that you're lying. So let's just wrap all three of those into one. Okay, so of course he keeps saying, "No, I'm not a drug dealer. I have money in my savings account. I'm so sorry. Please, please, please don't do this." And Rusty's like, "You keep talking, I'm gonna shoot you." Okay, so whatever the case, Rusty gets pulled away because whatever boat they're trying to get loose, Rusty's little henchmen, they can't get it loose. So Rusty's like, you guys can't do anything yourselves. So he goes to try to go and fix the problem. So Virginia then comes outside, places the baby outside on the ground. So of course Randall is like, "Can you please pick him up? He's cold." And Virginia is like, "That is the least of his problems, okay? You both are gonna die. You brought this on yourself." And he was like, "Please help me, please." Okay, so she said, "You should have stuck to your own kind, period. This is the reason why you're going to die. You should have just left my daughter alone." And then he says, "Your daughter and I were in love." She was like, "You guys weren't in love. Like, you raped her." And then he was like, "I didn't rape her. I promise I didn't rape her." And she was like, "Look, between me and you, I know you didn't rape her. Don't say that in front of Rusty because he's believing what he wants to believe. I know you didn't rape her, but was it worth your life? Because now he's going to kill you. He's going to kill you and that baby." So I don't know what to tell you. My daughter doesn't love you either. If she loved you, she wouldn't have came up here asking for our help. And he's like, "What? But Alex does love me. She really does." And I'm thinking, I don't know how I feel about that. Like, of course, she loves her baby more, but I'll talk about that later on in the review. So, anyways, she's like, "What? She came up here for your help?" And she said, "Yeah, my daughter came up here, and now this is what's come up of it. So, you're both are gonna die." And then he was like, "I know in my heart that she loves me." And then he says, "Can you just pick up the baby?" She says, "No, I'm not picking up that baby, and you're not touching the baby either, so scoot back." First of all, when we got the baby, Rusty wouldn't even let me pick up the baby when we were in the truck, like driving here. The baby was just rolling around on the back seat and the floor, and I'm like, "Oh, that is horrible." But anyways, and then Randall, he's like a psychiatrist, psychologist, therapist, one of those. So he then starts like psychoanalyzing her, and he's like, "How did you get here?" She's like, "What are you talking about?" And he was like, "You're not even this type of person. Like, I feel like you settled for Rusty." She's like, "What? Excuse me?" And this is what he says verbatim: "You settled for him. You had big dreams. You were in love with someone else. This someone else really loved you. You didn't want to live all the way out here in no man's land in the country. You wanted to live in the city. You had dreams. Then your mother forced you into this situation." "No, nope, your father." So, of course, it seems from her reaction that he's on point with everything he's saying. So she's like, "What are you, some type of witch? Like, you deserve to die if you know all that about me because nobody knows that." So he's like, "No, I'm not a witch. I'm a people person." She's like, mm-hmm. Well, if you know all that, then you're a witch and you're gonna die. Okay, so whatever the case, then all of a sudden we go to the dispatcher. Okay, the dispatcher that should be fired because she didn't follow protocol and she allowed Eddie to go out and help Andrew. Okay, so whatever the case, the dispatcher finally tells Detective Stevens that, hey, just letting you know that Andrew is kind of out in no man's land, but don't worry, he has backup with Eddie. So Stevens knows how Andrew is, so he's like, oh my gosh, where's he at? Okay, and is he with Alex Montgomery? Okay, I have to rush there. Okay, so the next thing you know, it goes to the scene with Kelly and Marcie. So they're in Alex's house. They're talking, and next thing you know, chit chat, chit chat. Marcy's still not telling Kelly that she's pregnant, and then Marcie looks outside and she notices, oh, Travis, isn't that Travis? He's over there on your doorstep. Here, let me just go ahead and invite him in. And Kelly is like, no, 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 just let it be. And she's like, why not? She's like, okay, I have to tell you something, but let's not make a big deal out of it. He was in my house, and she's like, did you let him in? No, but he was in my house, and I really just think I probably shouldn't have let him on, okay? Let alone I shouldn't have let him, like, get any of the cookies because now he is, like, fiending, okay? And so she's like, that's not normal, okay? Like, you need to call the police. She said, no, he's just a kid, and I think I let him on. She was like, no, don't allow yourself to believe that. You need to call the police. You are in danger. He broke into your house. Okay, so then, of course, whenever they say call the police, that's never 911. The police is Lucian's phone number. So Kelly calls Lushion, and she starts telling him, and she's, of course, trying not to blame Travis because she's saying he's just a kid. She shouldn't have let him on. And so Lushion says, no, I think we need to look into this. And you need, like, she's calling for a restraining order. So she also says, hey, have you know, Ramsey, because Lushion and Natalie were buying Ramsey's house. And so she was like, have you spoken to him? Did he say anything about going back to Ohio? And then he said, no, he didn't mention it. And she was like, okay, well, I was just asking because there's a note on his door that says he went back to Ohio. And when I talked to Travis, he said something that rubbed me a little bit wrong because he said something about not Travis. Travis said something about Ramsey being gone permanently. And she's like, yeah, you know he's psycho, so something could have happened. So then Lushion is like, okay, I will send somebody over there to check on your house and my house to make sure everything's okay. So she's like, oh, great. Okay, so next thing you know, sorry, I gotta find out. Lushion calls Steven, and he's like, they're basically like keeping up with everything that's going on as far as like the whole case with Alex and the baby and her parents taking the baby and Eddie is on his way out there, all of this stuff. So Lushion is flipping out. He's like, look, Eddie is out here just like running amok. Like he's going crazy. We need to stop him. And apparently there is a greater reason why Lushion is being a mole right now in the police station because they're trying to get the Escada family, which is the drug dealing family. They're trying to take them down. And I guess so to them, Eddie is a little fish and is not worth like compromising the whole operation. But to Lushion, he's like, look, Eddie is around here just killing people left and right, okay? We have to do something about this. So you need to call this into the FBI. Call this case about this missing baby into the FBI so they can go to Alex's parents' house. If not, then I am going to call Lamont. And Lamont, as we are led to believe that that's their boss for the FBI. So Stevens is like, this is going to compromise you. And he's like, I don't care. Call it in. Okay. So he says he'll get right to it. So then all of a sudden, Natalie is like, Lushion, like, what's going on? Like, it just seems like so much is going on. Your phone has been blowing up. You need to go handle business, okay? I understand that, you know, we are going through this family crisis, but if Eddie, if like this whole thing about the missing baby and all that, and if Eddie is anywhere involved in this, like this is a dangerous situation. So you need to go help. So just go. The situation's not changing here. I have this under control. So he agrees. Okay. And I thought that was great. I thought she was a supportive fiance. Okay. So the next thing you know, the police show up to Kelly's house while Kelly is inside of Alex's house. Now, we all know that Travis is probably watching nearby, so this is really going to piss him off, the fact that he has seen the police outside of Kelly's house. So whatever, she goes outside to give them a statement, and he searches the house, and her house is fine. And then he decides to go next door and to search into Ramsey's house. And when he goes, he's on his way inside, and Kelly asks if she can come in after him, and he's like, "No, ma'am, but you can wait out here." Now, I'm not quite sure what he saw, because once he walked inside of Ramsey's house and he was in there not even like 30 seconds, he comes out and he starts calling on his little radio for backup. And Kelly is like, "What's going on?" He's like, "Ma'am, get in the house." And he was telling her to get in the house as if it was still possibly a dangerous situation. Now, remember, all of this has only occurred within 6 hours. So it is possible that maybe Ramsey might still be alive. Maybe Travis was trying to give him a slow death or something. I don't know. He didn't call for the ambulance, though. He called for backup. So that's what makes me think maybe Ramsey's not dead. I'm not sure. Or maybe there is blood on the scene, but Ramsey is not physically in the house. We shall see. Either way, I automatically noticed he didn't call for paramedics, 911, the ambulance, none of that. He called for backup as if this could be like a real life like shootout situation. And he wants Kelly to get back to safety. So I'm glad we're going to be finding out what's going on with that, definitely. But y'all let me know what y'all think. What do y'all think happened to Ramsey? I don't want him to die because I really liked him and Kelly together. Okay, anywho, so then we are back to KKK land. Okay, so in KKK land, we have the baby still laying on the ground crying. We still have Randall on the ground begging and pleading for his life. And we still have Rusty still threatening to shoot him every 30 seconds. So next thing you know, we see a police car like speed up. And Rusty is like ready to shoot, but then he sees Alex, his daughter, get out of the car. And she's like, wait, don't do this. Please don't do this. Please, you don't have to kill him. Please don't do anything to my baby. Just give me my baby. And I'm like, girl, like, you know that's not going to work. Like, they stole your baby for a reason. Like, they have all this blood from Randall for a reason. They're not just going to let him go free because you changed your mind. You don't want help anymore. This is your fault. Okay, so whatever the case, she decides, "Daddy, please, what do you want me to do?" And he's like, "You know what? Prove yourself. Prove you are a member of this family. You need to take this gun and you need to shoot him yourself. That is the only way you'll be able to redeem yourself. We're good Christian people around here. We haven't messed with anybody. And then you came and you brought this problem to us, so you prove yourself." So she's like begging and pleading. She doesn't want to. And then so for a second, she thinks she has some cojones. So she gets the gun and she is like pointing it at Randall. Now, mind you, Randall said earlier in the episode, "Your daughter loves me. I know in my heart that she loves me." At this moment, I'm thinking he's probably thinking either two options when she puts the gun to him. Either she's not going to do it because deep down inside she loves me, or, oh my gosh, she doesn't love me because she's going to shoot me. He was begging and pleading to her. She couldn't do it. Now, I don't know if that's because she like really does like actually love him, or if that's because she's just really, she doesn't have that hate in her heart that her parents have. So since she wasn't able to pull the trigger, then Rusty says, "Look, I knew you couldn't do it. I knew you were soft-hearted like your mother." And so he's like furious. So he's like, "You know what? Let's just get to doing it. Let's get this over with. We got to kill them both like it was planned. This is the only way we'll make things right with the Lord." Okay, so next thing you know, another police car pulls up. This police officer that gets out is like, hold on, Uncle Rusty. It's me. It's Eddie. Look, I want to be a part of this. I'm not snitching on you. Look, her husband was my best friend, and she's cheating on him with this guy, and they came out with this little baby. So look, I'm just as ready to get rid of both of them as you are. So how about you let me help you do the job? And he's like, okay, well, we're trying to get this dang boat loose, and we can't get it loose. So then Eddie's like, simple, shoot the rope on the boat. And so then finally they get that loose. Okay, so then Eddie is like full speed ahead. Let's get the rope. We're gonna hang him. We're gonna hang him. And at this point, my blood is boiling. Okay, because I have never seen anything this racist on a TV show before, and I was like, oh my gosh, are you serious? Is this real life? Like they are really about to hang him on this TV because I'm about to be pissed off. Like I was gonna be mad if the baby died, but the fact that they were going to hang a black man on TV was like pissing me off to the highest level of festivity. Anyways, so they're like all rough with him. They're like, you gotta die, you gotta die. They have it around his head like a noose. They're dragging him over to the tree, and then they even like throw the rope up, and they start pulling him up, and you see him like losing his breath, and I'm like, I can't believe I'm watching this. And next thing you know, FBI comes out of nowhere in the woods, and they start like shooting. FBI, FBI. And I'm like, oh, finally, because I didn't know how Randall was going to survive this. Like, Randall's not my favorite character, but I surely didn't want him to die, and not like that. So then all of a sudden, Eddie is like, I'm police, I'm police. And he starts helping, and he starts shooting people. And I'm like, okay, the FBI didn't just come out of nowhere. Like, the FBI had to have been watching, and they had to have known, look, this is when we're going to charge now. So they had to have known that Eddie was a part of this. Now, I do realize that Stevens and Lushion, they know, okay? And they're just going along with it for now. But the rest of the FBI, they had to have seen that. And this would have been the perfect situation for Eddie to accidentally get shot in the line of fire. And that's what they should have done, and they should have killed him. Instead, I think Eddie was the one to actually pull the trigger to kill Rusty. And like Alex is standing there, she's flipping out. Meanwhile, Alex's mother, Virginia, is like, look, I have my eye on the prize. We were supposed to kill them. And if they're not going to kill Randall, then I'm going to get this baby. So she starts running with the baby. And I'm thinking, Alex, what are you doing? Like, your mama can't be that fast. Like, go after her. Like, I know the bullets are flying and all that. But oh my gosh, like, what do you think she's going to do with your baby when she gets your baby alone? Okay, so whatever the case, they're killing all of like Rusty's henchmen. They kill Rusty. And they're like flipping out, and they're like, okay, where's the baby? Where's the mother? You look out. This cuckoo is on the boat holding the baby by one leg, and it's like, I got to do it. I got to finish the job. And they're like, Alex is freaking out. Mama, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And you can actually see the baby moving around and everything. And I'm thinking, okay, FBI is sitting there. They're like, I have a perfect shot. Do I need to shoot? Do I need to shoot? Lushion says, do it. If you have an open shot, do it. And I'm thinking, okay, the baby can't die automatically. Like, we have to have somebody out of the FBI that is a really good swimmer, and they're going to be able to go in there and get that baby. But there could be snakes in the water. There could be alligators, anything. So I'm like flipping out. I don't know what has happened to this baby, but in my heart, I feel like the baby is not going to die. But Alex's parents are dead, and you know what? I'm okay with that, okay? Because they were evil-hearted people. But at the same time, we see once all this happens, I don't know if it was before or after, the baby probably fell in the water because they shot her, unless they shot her in the leg and she fell over the other way and the baby fell in the boat. I'm not sure. But Brad pulls up at the same time. So I'm thinking Brad was in the military. Maybe he's just some type of like special type of swimmer, and he's like a professional. Maybe he'll swim out there and get the baby. I don't know, but remember, Brad showed up because Marcie said, I need you to go and make sure everything's okay. So Brad has to be there for a reason, or else why would they have him show up at the point when this story was happening? Anywho, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. Check me out at mrsblogaholic.com. Bye.